Break down here. Certainly some of the technical support points I was looking to hold did not hold this morning so far, but I look at them on a closing basis. Doubtful we can reverse all the way, but what do you see for the markets? Any stability at all today, tomorrow?
Charles, unfortunately, I wish I could be a voice of cheer, but the fact that we're starting off Monday this poorly after a horrendous trade on Friday, I think it portends for more volatility, more trouble ahead. When you look at the global situation, I think there's a good chance that we're heading into a global and synchronous recession, and I think that the market needs to price that in. U.S. stocks have traded at a massive premium compared to the rest of the world, and I still believe we are the strongest market and the strongest economy in a very weak world, but I don't know that we deserve the kind of premium that we've attracted so far, so I think this is a time to be very, very cautious.
Well, on that note then, would it then be wise to stick with U.S. stocks? Even if they all go down, shouldn't we go down the least amount if we have the best economy?
Well, I think that's true, but most individuals who are watching us, they're not fund managers who have choices and invest necessarily really globally. But yes, to your point, I do like more domestically oriented companies. I think domesticity and dividends. I want to look for the two Ds. What has high dividends and what's a domestic business? Utilities. It's boring. It's not sexy. It's what your grandma probably would have owned in the stock market, but I think grandma, as she often is right, and she's certainly right in investing in this case. So I do agree, yes, the U.S. will do better than the rest of the world, but that doesn't mean that we're going to do well on an outright basis, and I would stay away from the very largest multinationals who do the preponderance of their business overseas.
Right, and it's interesting you say that because I was, you can call utilities the only widows and orphans category left, and not only do they provide a hefty dividend, they've outperformed this year even before this massive breakdown. Now, you talked about multinationals. That brings us to the question of the dollar. The shifting opinions now. Perhaps the Fed may be looking at a rate cut instead of a rate hike as their next move. Can that bring some relief to this pullback?
No, it could. Look, in the central bank, we saw it in February. The Fed finally hiked rates in December. In January, global markets went into an absolute free fall, and Janet Yellen came in February and effectively saved the stock market by saying we're going to be incredibly cautious, which they have been. So can she do it again? I suspect yes, but I also suspect she's running out of ace cards. She already played one. Does she have three left? I'm not so sure. I think maybe she only has one or two, so I think she better be careful. I think rate hikes are absolutely off the table. I hope that they're not actually considering a rate cut, though, because, look, it's not an interest rate problem. We've had stable low interest rates for years. The real problem, I think, the reason we're not growing better, and we are growing, thank goodness, but we're growing tepidly, is because of Washington, D.C. It's regulation and taxes. We need relief from both of those, and then I think the American economy can truly start growing again at a pace that is worthy a nation as great as America.
Well, we're not going to get any relief from this administration. We all know that. In fact, you're going to get a wave of more anti-business things like the overtime pay or higher minimum wage. But having said that, I thought it was interesting you mentioned Janet Yellen was able to jawbone the market into some sort of stability. Now she spent the last couple of months laying out the argument for a rate hike. I would say the Fed's on thin ice with respect to any kind of form of credibility. If she keeps flip-flopping every time the market goes one way or the other, that's all gone. I mean, they're on a razor's edge with respect to the little bit of credibility they have left, no?
No, I think you're exactly right, and that's why I say I don't think she has many more ace cards to play to save the market, because her credibility and the credibility of the Fed overall is dubious at best. But look, I think we need to remember, often I think we in financial markets and just out there in the public, we want to believe that there's this council of wise men and wise women that's able to centrally plan our entire economy, and that's just not true. So the Fed is no better. By the way, most of these folks in the Fed have never worked in real business. They never actually lent money at a bank. They never traded in markets. Never paid a payroll.
Buddy, I got to let you go because one of our big breaking Supreme Court decisions is out. Great stuff. Appreciate it.